Just last week, Turning Point Dr. Maku sent out a notification on young children as young as 8, 9 years old inhaling household products and the damage and some of the issues that they are facing with students. What have you done as the Minister of Health, along with even mental health, because they are having students or children that have to go to this facility also, to deal with that matter that just recently came out? I didn't hear anything about that. Also, you also mentioned there is a lot of new mental health cases. Has government provided any subsidy or any assistance to MHF so that they can deal with the extra amount of people that they now have to deal with? And how friendly it is at MHF for possible patients to get in? I can tell you I was there this week, and some of the questions that I was asked, I can't even repeat it. I went there to take someone, and it wasn't easy. And the person's a known person to MHF. What about the unknown? Have government addressed these issues with MHF?
Okay. I'll start with the last one. I'm not too familiar with the procedures when someone is being admitted to it. So I don't know what exact questions was asked. However, when it comes to the service aspect of it, we are busy with Trimbus. So we're talking about from the time the person is identified, if it has mental issues, straight through until their healing process. We are busy with Trimbus to help us create a system that goes a lot more smoother and that's also more effective for the people of St. Martin. So that would be the answer that I can provide at this current moment pertaining to that. With regard to funding, that was also a question that was brought to me in Parliament. There was one of the past ministers, Minister Jansen Webster. She allocated several funds for the mental health facilities. Unfortunately, when I came in, I did not receive it. Wasn't in the draft over documents, and also I wasn't aware of it until it was brought just a little bit prior to Parliament meeting. I immediately asked my policy advisor to look into it. We managed actually to find out exactly that what happened. Actually, it was passed in COM, but there was an advice that had to be followed up with. But unfortunately, that was not done. However, we have, in the meantime, yesterday I got word that we have actually made that transfer to mental health, which is 1.3, I believe, or 1.4. I'm not too sure about the amount that was transferred to mental health in order to assist them there with their challenges that they're having. And again, we are actively busy dealing with the mental health situation. As the public also know, I've made it public that we deal the soft component is Trimbos, but we're also dealing with NRPB to deal with the new building. And one thing I will say is that I have intention next week, God Spare Life. Yeah, next week, God Spare Life, that I will be giving I will start to give a quarterly update pertaining to the hospital and the mental health project moving forward. The other question pertaining to the incident that you said.
Talking about little children, just last week, the director of Turning Point, Dr. Maku, sent out a circular about young children that is still posted on my site. Inhaling household products, even nail polish, nail remover, and the side effects that they're having.
Okay.
What is being done to address that issue?
Well, thank you for. Well, I haven't heard about it. That's the first time I'm hearing about it. I will check to see if anyone from our department is doing anything about it. But definitely, I will get back to you with regard to if something was done. I'll get back to you if something was done, and if it's not, we'll definitely make sure that something is done about it. I will touch base with also. It's Turning Point, you said? I will touch base with Turning Point as well. I have a direct line with her.
Thank you, Minister Brugge. Emo?
Minister, can you update us on what government's current debts to SZV and APS are? I mean, they're substantial. And since we're in conversations with the Ministry of Finance about, again, debt to GDP ratio, my understanding is these debts to SZV and APS, let's say, are in the ballpark combined of about 100 million guilders. Are these debts converted into a loan agreement? Is government paying interest? Are there payment terms? How is government addressing in a structural way these outstandings?
Okay, with regard to, I don't have the information pertaining to the debt for APS. I would have to look that up and give that to you at a later date. With regard to SZV, yes, we do have a structural payment system for SZV. We have recently also injected an additional, I believe it's $1 million. We have recently injected an additional $1 million to SZV in order to assist with some of the shortcomings of paying for example, the general practitioners, the psychologists, and those type of things. So we're actively busy actually we have a structural payment system already, but we're actually doing extras in order for us to try to reduce the debt that is owed to SZV.
But is the debt to SZV formalized in some sort of a loan agreement, and is there interest being paid on the money that government owes to SZV? Because SZV has to pay its bills even though government doesn't pay, so it's advancing money out of its own savings to cover government's failure to pay, and they should receive interest on the money that's owed to them. So is there a formal loan agreement, and is there interest being paid on that money?
To my knowledge, no. But let me also get back to you with that particular question, just to make sure that we're good.
Okay, thank you, BB. You have the floor. We have 8 minutes left, so please make it quick.
Then I only have one.
Go ahead.
Minister, a couple months ago, there were some complaints, allegations, all kinds of things regarding sexual harassment. You said that was being investigated. Since then, it went quiet. Can you give us an update as to where that is?
According to me, the last thing I understand, the investigation has finished. I have not received a report, anything as yet. I'm not too sure if the Prime Minister did, but I can also inquire how far that is as well. The relative departments took care of that, actually. So I'm going to inquire that as well for you.
How do ideas become plans? Plans become memories.
So you like my new grill?
And dreams become your life.
This is retirement.
Do you remember when hope became a house? When that house became a home? Your ideas are everything, and we're here to help make them happen. Your idea of yes, I can happens here.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
individuals received minor burns. These were able to be treated at the facility. There was indeed one inmate who at some point was, I believe this was on Friday or Saturday, was refusing treatment from the nurse. And in that case, we had him go to the emergency room where they treated him the same way that the nurse would have treated him. Of course, I also don't know all the medical details of prisoners. The prison doctor is unable to share that private information, but the prison doctor has confirmed to us that everybody is receiving the appropriate treatment necessary to deal with those injuries. On Sunday, I actually, as I said, I had gone to the back to speak to inmates, and I actually spoke to one of the gentlemen who had burns. I spoke to him about his treatment, how he was feeling, if he needed anything, and he confirmed to me that the treatment was going well, and that the nurse was taking good care of him. They get those wounds cleaned twice a day by the nurse on site. Then I also wanted to, just to be clear, I think I had briefly mentioned it in the introduction in the presentation, but when it comes to the structure of the facility, we've had initial assessments done by the fire department, VROMI, and the lead engineer from UNOPS. All of those reports so far indicate that the initial assessment is that the structure was uncompromised. So because of that, I guess apparently we had very good paint up there, the fire retardant paint, but they're saying the concrete doesn't look like it has had any damage behind that structure. So but of course, a full cleaning needs to take place for them to really then see the exposed concrete. But we have 3 initial indications telling us that structurally, it's okay. Which is why now we're in that phase of trying to get that cleaning done so then we can do a deeper check. And there's also discussions indeed about doing a test of the concrete and having that go through ICE, because ICE has the capability to do that testing on site. So we're working together with the lead engineer from UNOPS to be able to coordinate that and have that done. Then I was asked there was a question about the legal basis for the suspension. It's based on Articles 31 and 32 of the gevangenismaatregels, so the prison regulations. Article 31 gives the initial authority to the prison director, and then that authority is for 3 times 24 hours. And after that, the law says that the minister has to decide on that. And we have signed MBAs every time that this goes on. I am also not very happy or don't feel good. I also believe that inmates are human beings, and it's why I've taken the time to really go and speak to them as human beings and as their minister to take them along into this process and explain what is going on. And this is why we're looking really every 24 hours at the necessity of these measures. Is it strictly necessary for the safety and security of the facility? Then it must continue. So that is really the assessment that we're making. I'm not trying to double, triple punish anybody up there. And we're really looking at how to be able to do this safely. Then the new prison project, we are on schedule. We're actually in the middle of the tender procedure right now. We hope to award the contract at the end of July and for construction to hopefully start in October. The planning was that by the end of next year and not in 2028, because it's a longer project that is completely completed in 2028. But there is a hope that phase 1 of the project will be completed at the end of next year, so at the end of 2026. And phase 1 would mean that we will go from 80 people capacity to 120. But of course, the question is, what is the timeline for us to be able to use that space? Because it requires more staff, and it requires extra funding. And these are all the discussions that we're having now in terms of looking at how and at what time do we start to utilize that extra capacity. And then capacity brings me then to the grievances. Again, I had discussions with both the Inmate Association along with the inmates themselves. And the 2 points that were brought up to me, maybe actually 3. One is indeed the sentiment, the feeling that they have that, yeah, you picking up guys that guys that committed crimes or robbery on Front Street, getting let out to the police cells, and we up here in Point Blanche. I took the time to try to explain to them the difference between pretrial detention and somebody being convicted and sitting up there, but I also acknowledged to them that I understand. In their situation, I would feel the same way. I told them I could explain to you what the law says, because that's what the law says, but it doesn't change that I'm a human being and not just Minister of Justice, and I can feel with them. So I took the time to explain to them, even talk about the early conditional release And we're actually using this now as an opportunity to see how we can be indeed more transparent and to communicate to them how the early release works. Because in principle, the way that it's been working, and I heard mention of Article 137, is indeed with a lack of space. But I explained to them also, because they also feel sometimes that one person who they say, yeah, but this partner get out, he had so many years left, and I got 2 months left, and I still up here. So I tried to explain to them that in the eyes of the law, they're actually all equal, because the law looks at a percentage of your sentence served. And I told them somebody who has 20 years, 1/3 of 20 years is a lot more than 1/3 of 2 years, 18 months. So of course you feel like, yeah, but I got such little time left, he got so long left, how is that fair? So, we explained to them there's actually lists that the prison has, that the prosecutor has, where a person's early release date is stipulated, percentages of when that person came in. And 137 says, yes, they does give a discretion to the minister in that sense. When, with the lack of capacity, you look at the person who has percentage-wise served the longest portion of their sentence. So what we're doing now, and we actually, we were in these discussions already with the prosecutor's office to look for how can we come up with a policy guideline, a beleidsregel, to give that extra discount, as we're saying, to look at, based on, in a way that is fair to everybody across the board, and that we can set that it's transparent, that everybody, not for one person it's 60%, for somebody else it's 58%, but that there's a clear system across the board. So we were actually working on this already, and now of course we've sped that up, and I actually received a draft that we've been bouncing around to see how we can do that. And I had discussed with the inmates as well that we're happy to try to put in layman's terms what the law says, how it works for them, but then I was told by the association, well, focus right now on restoring everything at the prison, and then we could have those discussions after. So the same, for the guys that I spoke to in the back, that was one that came up. Another thing that they told me was there was frustration on the inmate side when it came to Parliament, to be honest, and they felt like the Justice Committee came up there, that they shared their grievances, and that the Justice Committee, like nobody had checked them since. That they feel like, oh, y'all came up here, but then after that we don't see or hear anything again. So that was, we had those discussions as well. And then the third thing that they also said to me was that they don't have enough to do. They were like, listen, we got nothing to do up here. And I told them that it was unfortunate that this happened, because I was actually in the midst now of signing an agreement to have UNODC come in earlier to really start working on the soft components. I've stressed to them that before the end of this year, I want to have more programs, more to do for the inmates there, because I've said I cannot tell somebody who is in Point Blanche now, yeah, but a new prison coming. I have an obligation towards that person now. So we were working on that, and I told them, but now all my energy has to go into restoring order in the facility, and they understood, they laughed, and so we had a good conversation where that is concerned as well.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
Yay, holidays! How do ideas become plans? Plans become memories.
So you like my new girl?
And dreams become your life.
This is retirement.
Do you remember when hope became a house? When that house became a home? Your ideas are everything, and we're here to help make them happen. Your idea of yes, I can happens here.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Cadet Parkerson.
Present. Mark.
Cadet Fleming. Cadet Martelli.
Present. Mark.
Cadet Martelli will also be presented an award for Best Academic Performance. Cadet Milliard.
Present, ma'am.
Cadet Norton. Cadet Rodney.
Present, ma'am.
Cadet Thomas. Congratulations to our cadets who have been promoted to Brigadier First Class. A round of applause for our members.
And we'll now have the promotion of Brigadier First Class to Brigadier Corporal.
At this moment, I would like to call for First Class Brigadier Bailey. First Class Brigadier Ratchett.
Present, Mom.
Let's give our new Brigadier Corporals a round of applause. We'd also like to thank Second Lieutenant Kemper for your assistance and welcome Second Lieutenant Pink as we now have the promotion of Brigadier Corporal to Brigadier Sergeant.
I would like to call forth our most outstanding member who will be presented with an award for most outstanding. Brigadier Corporal Gabidon.
Present, Mom.
If you're going to move from under the tent to go over to the other side, those of you that have a chair, you can take along the chair with you.
I would like to acknowledge Brigadier Corporal Tyrese Rodney, who will be presented with the award for Best Attendance. We are so proud to have Coach Charles now promoted to adjutant.